Well, hello, and you are most welcome to the GMODISM channel. This is your host, Eric. And I have shown you pieces and bits of this before, but today I will show you the full build process of the monitor we are building for our Commander DLFN, or Commander Delfin, as it kind of becomes when you speak it quickly. And this also happens to be the final name for the ship, but not a dolphin like DLFN, like Delfin, which happens to be dolphin in Swedish. It's Delfin. And well, let's see how this grows out of an idea. So after our discussions with our commander, we found out that what we wanted is a monitor class. It needs to be a big gun with like glass cannon philosophy, basically. I thought that it would be cool to make a rotary doom cram system after we made a rotary diff gun for Lieutenant Anto. And perhaps we should have some secondaries like burst APS or diff APS for secondary damage. Possibly a small AA gun, some basic interceptors, maybe a laser if it fits, and mortar cram secondary, possibly. So that was the idea. The mortar cram secondaries were, well, cancelled, but we did fit everything else. And the laser isn't even that small. If we zoom out a little bit here, you can see the design philosophy and the idea behind it. This is basically what type of shape we want for the ship. We wanted that type of ram bow, or rather, Commander DLFN wanted that. I sent some suggestions, like you can see here, and that's the answer we got. We should have the plow, a little bit Warhammer 40k or like train plow. So this is what was my first sketch up here. You could see like this. I cancelled that type of superstructure and went for a superstructure you can see here in blue instead. We had two different ideas for rotary cram system. I thought we should have a normal rotary cram system like a revolver, like up here. But then I thought, why not having like a spinning thing that's something like out of Super Mario, that like. But then I realized, why not just have fixed barrels? That is, it solves no problem, you know. The thing that the revolver doom cram solves is that you can maintain a reasonable angle of fire, whereas the other barrels are not exposed, you know. Yeah, ish. It's not as good as a real doom cram, of course, but you're not gonna fit the doom cram at this size. And if you make a rotary doom cram, you can fit in more firepower for a deck gun. It's not optimal to have it a deck gun, but that's how we have to make it. Yeah, anyways, Commander DLFN was mostly interested in the thing looking really cool than it being super functional, so we did prioritize looks before functionality for this build. Anyways, what more to add? Like, we have some different ideas here all over, like some unload here and there stuff. We got a little bit of a armor, I thought, and then a late addition that I just added. If it's kind of under 80% health, it has this special move now where it will ram the enemy. Isn't that nice? Okay, there it is. Here is the ram. It's actually hidden, but yeah. And if you want to have a sneak peek, this is kind of how it looks. Not really, but it's a good impression of it at least. Alright. So here we are back in game. Now you have seen all you will see about that for the little drawing. So art session is over. Or not really. Now the real art begins. I spawned my vehicle thing that has this handy feature of coming with all the Army of GMODISM colors pre-set up. It even has, like, this is a really cool thing you may not have known. If you pre-save vehicles, you can make them have pre-saved ammo shells. Now, this particular isn't going to use any of those ammo shells, but you can see the function at least. So that's why you can spawn like a build vehicle that you just use every time, because this is like my custom color palette. I'm gonna upload the Army of GMODISM colors vehicle, fortress, and structure on the workshop later, probably in relation to the next build challenge, so that people can easily use it to get the AoG colors. Well, in any case, this is the shape as promised, and we now go over to the next iteration of the ship. Here you can see we have started adding colors. We built some on the ram, and we have added a bit of superstructure here, or the basis of it, which means that this will be the area for the deck gun rotary cram cannon system. It is a glass cannon, and this mortar is supposed to be basically helping other ships with some extra firepower for a reasonably cheap cost, and it thus is a front-sider. It will face the front to the enemy, and it is, as said, it's a glass cannon, but we still wanted to have some armor. So we opted for a lot of wood for flotation and armor, and of course stone and a little bit of metal for the main hull of the ship. Then we added some nice railings and stuff like that to kind of shape out the hull. Moving over to the next iteration, we have really shaped out a pretty good looking like ram front. I'm pretty particularly happy with this little ram. It looks like cast iron, 1800s style. I don't know. Maybe it's a small detail, but I was really happy when I got this, because I wanted it to be straight with the ship, not poking up. And making that look good was harder than I expected, but personally, I think I nailed it. I hope our commander thinks so too. I was also particularly happy when I was able to find the right shapes to make this. If I recall correctly, there is no mimics here, only real blocks. And I was very proud of my intelligence for managing to find the blocks after some couple of hours. But there we are. Okay, maybe not a couple of hours, maybe 1 hour. Let's move on to the next iteration. So here you can see we have also added more of the superstructure. I switched parts of the superstructure to be alloy instead, to not take too much weight, because I feared that the superstructure would make it too top heavy, basically making it topple over. And I didn't want alloy on the white here, because that should look like the rest of the hull, was my aesthetical mind forcing me to do. And you may wonder, how is this not so heavy? Well, let me show you. This is built out of half blocks, tetras, and yeah, so it's basically sheet metal. Or no, it's not sheet metal. We could have used the metal plate 4 meters, but that's super sad. Instead, this has like double health of the, plate, so it's kind of sheet metal. Yeah, and opening up a little gate here to the interior, and of course the ship should be walkable to some extent at least. Then I thought a really cool idea when I built the rotary diff gun for Lieutenant Anto. We had to use a lot of light blocks to make it work, and I thought, what if I make the laser stick out of the side here, so it kind of can aim around the ship and shoot stuff, but still the superstructure is like attached, but it's also like not attached. I thought it was a smart trick. So that is what I did. I thought to have detection and the laser system basically on a spinal thing here, making it very, maybe not resilient, but looking really cool. And that's really the goal here. So, do we have another iteration? We do. Moving on, you can see I have mainly worked here on the superstructure. we added connection points here to make it look a little bit more sturdy. And we have the chromium oxide containing glass, making it green here, the AoG standard. And you can see here you have the laser system. Now, if you go to the previous iteration, it is empty, but this iteration is... oh, it's also empty, never mind. But I did install the laser like here, and it's actually a spin block with a piston on it. So it's a pistonized laser because you can have the laser actually on a piston. And then it is docked to like this position to exactly point out of here. So if we control this vehicle, you can see now it unrenders when we aim around. But you can see it can spin around like this. I think this is a pretty cool solution for having a like 360-degree laser system on a small ship like this. Yeah, I was happy at least. Anyways, and the interior, I used wood blocks here. This is not mimics, this is like this wood block, which I think looks nice. I like avoiding using mimics when I can, but that's just personal preference. It doesn't decrease lag from what I know. Yeah, so let's spawn in the next iteration. And yeah, the roof here is alloy, but it's colored. It's not supposed to be the same type of as the hull. It's colored with the color 5, which we kind of use for oxidized copper to make cool looking copper roofs-ish, you know, because I want the vibes. Before we move on to the next step, I just want to say big thanks to all of the people who are supporting the channel on the Ecclesiarchy of GMODISM and as cadets, and of course in the commissioned officers, most notably Admiral Dragon X62, Commodore the All-Around Gamer, Commander Ben Wilkie, Sven van der Velde, Ali, Lieutenants Anto, Cravey, Flores Dagan, Daniel Sakin, Owen, Parba Greed, Vincent Veritas, Volkite, Rick Brill, and Scoob Rock. And most notably, of course, in this episode, Commander DLFN, or Commander Delfin, as I tend to say. Hope that's okay. And of course, big thanks to Commander DLFN, I already said, but also Chancellor Super Dave in the government of GMODISM. Now, you may wonder what's in it for you if you would support the channel. Well, you get access to my private library of turrets, prefabs, and all the vehicles. This particular vehicle and many other vehicles are available free to download on Steam Workshop, of course, and you can copy many of the prefabs from there. But if you want to make your life simple, you can join the government or the commissioned officers too, and that's kind of the reward. Anyways, this is the next iteration, the number 6. For this iteration, I got a really cool tip some time ago to make a steam engine that doesn't burn materials when you don't need it. And to do that, you of course use the steam valve and basically turn off the valves from the boilers, so that they are not using any power because they don't get any steam, but the pressure is still in the tanks. Because if you automate the burners to turn off when there is no enemy or stuff like that, you have another issue, which is kind of, it takes a long time for them to build up the pressure. So that's why you use the steam valve. The problem is if you use the steam valve here in the beginning, it's EMP susceptible, so it can be killed by EMP, which means you need to EMP secure your entire steam engine. Nobody has time for that. So it's just a weak point. So usually like combat effective designs are just not resource effective when they use steam for this reason. A person, which I don't remember the name of right now, I'm very sorry, but big thank you for the tip of putting the steam valve at the output. This means that if there is like no need for the steam to be used, it just turns off here. Yeah, it just turns off, and that means the engine will stop eventually. But if it gets shut off, the only thing that happens is that the engine goes at full speed. That's the only thing that happens. So that was the smart little thing. And when building for our commander, I developed such an engine. And this is the first ship to use this engine. We're going to place it inside of here. Other than that, we have already installed an AI, which is the Nyoto core, which is of course my prefabs available in the files here for, well, it's a modular AI building system basically with everything. It's very handy, I like it, of course, because I made it for myself. It has two AIs. One is going to be for the slow weapons, one is going to be for the laser. They can share because then it's going to be inaccurate. Weird things. That's just how from the depth is. Weird. Right. So then we also added some detection on top of here and opened up for some new turrets. Next iteration. And for iteration number, is it 7? Is it 7? It's 7. It looks like nothing happened, and that's because things moved inside. The engine is now installed here, as you can see. It's neatly tucked away, and I finalized the form of this engine. So this is how it looks. It's a prefab. And for those of you who are commissioned officers, you may want to know what it's actually called. So let me show you where it is. Here under Steam, you go to Centauri Gesellschaft mit beschränkter Haftung, Flatpak 3 Super Smart Steam 1300 power. Or 13,000 power, I mean. It's pretty strong. It's a little bit overpowered for this, honestly. And here we have it. If vehicle's power is within like nothing, infinite, negative infinite to 99%, it will open the valves. And if vehicle power is, yeah, you know, okay. If we kind of have full power, it just shuts down. If you're not using any power, it shuts down. If you're using power, it goes online. So if you're sitting still and you set up your AI in a reasonable way, you know, that's fine. Also, I forgot this thing, this little cool line in the hull. I don't know when I added that, but I thought it added a lot of character. We added it here on the back too. Yeah. But what we've done otherwise is adding it here. So we have a little generator too, which is not stock on the engine, but we have a generator because we may have some burst APS, and that requires some power, so we need some power generation. As said, inside of here you have the AI and things, and there went the laser, but whatever. Inside of here you have the laser connection point. Here you can see the laser. It's a continuous laser, so it's just gonna be powered by engine power, just raw engine power. No storage available. Let's go and check out the next iteration. And for iteration number 8, we have finally made the thing have propulsion and stuff. So I added the little GMODISM Industries beautiful azipods with built-in rudders, or not rudders, it's like these are hydrofoils technically here, how they're used. And these are set up to automatically control pitch and roll. So it's a really handy thing. You can just slap these two on anything, reverse one of them, and it's gonna be stabilized and powered. Very handy. Yeah, and inside of here we have now armored the laser attachment. But this basically moves around here, and you can see, like, it's pretty like, okay, it's okay, it's not fast. It feels fast because the ship is so fat. But it's a monitor. It's a monitor class. It's not really built to be fast. So there is that too. It's built to look cool, and you know, that's subjective, but as long as Commander Delfin is happy, and hopefully me as well, then it's good. Right, that is it. So let's look at the next iteration, because this is, you know, it moves around. We've seen that. Okay, GMODISM, we've seen that. Everything is 3 months. later. Ta-da! Iteration number 9. So there was a good delay between iteration number 8 and iteration number 9. And that was because I had so hard troubles figuring out how to make a rotary cram cannon because it just didn't work. I needed to look for a specific value and it took ages for me to find said value. So yeah, I sat there confused and did nothing for a good while. After some time, I went into the GMODISM Discord, which you should probably join if you are into From the Depth or other games we play on this channel. Preferably both. But anyways, I went into the help channel for the From the Depth and just asked. And our master matroses, Omicron and Kevin, came to the rescue. They told me how to fix it, so that was great. Now it works. This is the design. We have a rotary doom cram cannon. It's pretty doomy for this size. Each of these shells have a reasonable damage. They have a reload time which is like 39 seconds, which is not a lot, but that's because they fire at 20% packing. So it basically does like this, you know. Okay, this is the version that's not working, I think. Yeah, so this is the start of this design before I figure out how to make it work. We also added some new details. Yeah, I messed up the iterations a little bit there. I think it's probably the next iteration, which it was a really long time between, failed. Welcome to iteration number 10, ladies and gentlemen. I spawned a notepad to remember what to fix. Make laser stronger, save rotary cram, make the interiors, test maneuvers, cram pack time, blah blah blah, water pumps, float, whatever, cool stuff. And I also built a lot of things and forgot to save iterations in between. So yeah, everything comes here at once here, basically. So yeah, these are diff guns. I managed to make diff guns that could fit this tight space by actually making them long tubes that end up in here. So it's a T1 turret, which is a bit funny. We added the OG AoG CWIS system, some auxiliary detection, because it turned out it was really important it has detection. We have a flamer here as secondary damage for anti-air, because flamer is actually really good for anti-air. Here we have a completely new cannon. This is a beautiful rail burp gun, or whatever they're called. What is it? It's a rail burst, I mean. It's a rail burst that just unloads high explosive damage to targets that are kind of close. I'm pretty happy with this. It's in the files. I hope. Or I need to. I think it's sometimes I remember when the last time I was that I updated them. I need to find a way to update them more quickly, so I don't need to like well, whatever. Getting off track. Here we have a little detection turret. As said, the secondary high damage single-use gun. That's like an Alpha Strike proper. And I added a little APS anti-air gun here in the back, just because I think this looks cool to put on a little podium thing like that. And I used it for other ships, and I think it looked great. But that's my opinion. Okay, down here as well, we have set up the innards a little bit. Not actually at all since last time. Never mind. Let's get to this and fire the guns. See if they work. Oh yeah, we're bypassing the local weapon controllers, so we're just you know overrunning everything basically. Let's look at the future iteration. Like honestly, between these last iterations, it's a little bit messy. both in my head and in the files and in everything. So, you know, because reasons. Say hello to iteration number 11. We will not look at this very carefully because the final touches are at iteration number final. So, this is basically the point where I was like, Commander, what do you want the ship to be called? And Commander Delfin was like, I don't know. And I was like, a couple of suggestions. And then we landed with AoG, Delfin-class monitor. So let me show you the final result. I'm gonna go in my personal files here, look at this. Fleets and Forces, 2nd Chapter Frontier Fleet, AoG, BM. This is the hull designation for monitor in the Army of GMODISM system. Not at all basically based on the US system. It's the most expanded system. There is no need to use any other system. It's a superior system for classifying ships. Unbiased opinion. Because I'm not American, that's why it's unbiased. So anyways, AoG BM Delfin-class monitor. I'm gonna make it drop down like some anime character here. Look at this. Boom. It is created. The Delfin is here. Isn't that quite lovely? So, what are we going to do here? We are gonna spawn some enemies and we are going to check this thing out. But first of all, let's just pause the game and have a good look at the shapes. We have the anti-rust red, copper-based paint here. There is a cinematic camera for a reason. Okay. Look at this. And there ends my mousepad. Alright. So, as you can see, I'm pretty happy with the design. Hopefully our commander is too, and it's available on the Steam Workshop as well, as they all are. We have interiors, of course, and it should also be walkable. I haven't tested that, maybe not yet. Maybe I haven't tested that. Well, that needs to be done. We are starting here at the control deck, where we have a very helpful matros helping us steer the ship if we're not in the seat. Well, there is some error on that screen, don't care about that, just need some system updates. Drinks for the officers, a nice bench for the bystanders. We have, this is, oh, I think this is like a fire thing. And down here, and hey, what are you doing there? Well, don't care about him, it's just sitting there. Inside of here, we have a lovely classroom with a little deco minigun and set up a beautiful shelf with a little bottle thing with a little shipping. Is that nice? The toilet door is not closable, unfortunately, but maybe we'll fix that in Mark II. Who knows? You're sleeping, it's important stuff. This is actually where we are teaching. First line deployment lesson 1 of 1. Just shoot all the guns until they are dead. Isn't that quite reasonable? Letters look so shite climbing up, but it's possible to climb up on this at least. And here we can stand on the something deck. Yeah, of course, in the back side here you can go out of it, and we have a little Metropolis shrine there, beautifully, for good luck or something. I don't know. The Ecclesiarchy will protect you if you light candles there. Maybe. No guarantees. And here you can see the different sides. This is the port where we have the anchors. And on the starboard, we have these things, which look like they should be like weights. And they actually are. These things are balancing the entire thing. So these little LED blocks, they're actually functional. They are real LED blocks and they are providing an equal balance, because it turns out that a really large steam engine we looked at before, it's kind of heavy. Your death is my life. Well, that's what the crew thinks. Ricky will protect. Also, some auxiliary roll and pitchers have been added here because it turned out it was kind of unstable when it went too close to the enemy and started backing off. So in case the front or the back as the pod gets shot off, it's really good to have these propellers as auxiliary so we actually stay upright, because otherwise it's going to be pretty difficult using this type of guns. Up here we also have one of the funniest details. You can see here we have a tiny little camera and it's aimed against this weather vane, and I imagine this is how you figure out which way the wind is blowing. Looking in the camera. That's probably what the 404 missing screen is for. And of course a little nice thing on top here. We have some auxiliary detection here looking back, forth, left, you know, the cardinal directions. Very nice. So that we don't lose sight of the enemy. And extra trackers on the side here. Man. The classroom is too funny. And you can see this ship is clearly made to be like... And if we move over to just look at the weight, you can see the invisible box is disappeared. And we have hidden rams here, because when the health of this vehicle is below 85%, it will just go to straight ram. It's just gonna ram the enemy if that happens. So you can see it's not too much mimic cope on this thing. It kind of looks how it is. Yeah. Talking about innards, let's take a little look here. We have spread out the ammo pieces a little bit here and there. And here we have the smart engine, which we already described. We have some automatic stabilization so that you can control the ship manually as well. And inside of here, that's the switching thing, we have a little breadboard too. And this breadboard has a thing for when target is spotted, it takes 7 seconds. Then it will enable all the local weapon controllers, or most of them. Before that, most of the local weapon controllers are not able to shoot. So here we can kind of see the innards of it with the burp guns. And here you can see we have the small little gun here, which is a shaped charge. A pretty small one, but if it is able to hit airplanes, which it does sometimes, it can kill them, because airplanes usually have no protection against shaped charges. The laser system, as promised, is a little bit expanded, and since we had so much engine power to burn, it actually has a pretty powerful ECM jammer, which is quite funny indeed. We also added some auxiliary underwater detection here as well, if we're dealing with, or if we just lose sight of the enemy and stuff like that. There is always something new to add. I just realized I wanted to have some ducts on these guys, so that will be added on the downloadable version. I don't know if there is anything more to add. That's the Delfin-class basically, so we should probably spawn some engines and engines? I'm thinking too much in terms of engines, and probably test it out a little bit, you know, so you can see it in action. Because I can't show you the rotary cram using mouse control, because the way we make this work is locking the local weapon controllers so that they won't work in like a rotary motion, so that only the top one is able to fire. So we override that when we are using, you know, when we are taking control by hand. It was possible to do for the APS diff gun, but not for the cram system. I didn't find a way. For the rotary APS diff gun, it was unable to fire because we changed the gauge. By the way, like this cram cannon is saved too now in the folders, so it's an Orion combined Q-Ram Mark 1 1200mm shell thing type thing. First out, you've guessed it, whacking marauders. So a marauder has been spawned, and here comes the Delfin. It's closing in. It had to wait a few seconds before going on the attack. And one thing we should totally check out here. you can see that for the cram cannons, only this one have not fired yet. They have a reload time of only 21 seconds, and that's because they fire at 10% packing, which is, you know, it's very weak. So the first 4 shots are like doom shots. They have a reload time of, what is it, like many minutes. The first shell does a lot of damage. The subsequent shell does less damage. Yeah. So that's kind of how it works. So it's a doom cram system, but it, you know, we don't want it to be dead weight after the first initial blasts. So that can be set also on the size of the target. We set them so that they actually hit when they get kind of close. If you set them to work at longer ranges, that you can do too. It works fine. It's just change the local weapon controller. But then it will tend to miss a little bit when we are shooting at smaller targets. So if you meet big targets, they work at longer distances too, of course. But now you can see it continues to shoot the rotary cram cannon, even though it's not a doom cram cannon anymore. Now it's a pretty low shot there. Oh, we got hit real bad. Being dead on like that makes the interceptors not fire sometimes, but usually they do. Anyways, we should also... Oh, it already despawned. Well, we're gonna do like this, repair all and reload all. And we can spawn something else. I don't know. The paddle gun. I don't think we can take on that, but yeah. Our little swivel guns here are, of course, doing some scary things at a distance. It is a glass cannon, so it's not really armored very well. Oh, look at that! The Seawiz is taking out the cram shells coming in here. Well, that happens. I think we kind of we outmatched ourselves. That's a little bit too expensive for us. The Delfin is 80,000 materials. We can check this one here. And they are area detonated crams, so they will explode in the air in the close proximity to the enemy. And we can also, well, we should get in close. Now this is set to pretty close range, the secondary APS. That deals a lot of damage. That deals a lot of damage. We're just gonna... I want to leave them damaged in the background here because I want some of them to start a ramming operation. We can just spawn another one here in the meantime. Oh, that was close enough. So they already launched the... but they didn't get enough time to get good detection, so that's not the best showcase. Oh, it died. I think maybe you unloaded your shells, perhaps. Who knows? Perhaps we should... I don't know my ships by heart here, but let's spawn a new vessel. So we can see the ones that are damaged to be a little bit in close range here. We can see the cram cannons popping in here and dealing kind of good damage. Look at that. Now the ones that were spawned since previously, obviously them crams are at the lower level, since it takes very many minutes for them to reload. We did opt for them to be a little less doomy for the first 4 shots by trading off that for them being able to deal some type of damage later on as well. Now this is a bit of a bit of a mob here. Maybe we should spawn some marauders. Whoops, pretty close. We want to see the. I want to showcase the rams in action. And these ships are pretty much, you know, used to be an auxiliary fire support vessel. Bam, there you can see the ramming in action. So it's not supposed to fight by itself really, because it is a glass cannon. It's kind of very lightly armored, and it doesn't have much investment in active protection. I want to just see, can we like panic repair this marauder? No, we can't. We can't. Okay, well, let's spawn some new marauders. They are eating marauders very fast, I feel. Because I want to do a thing. I want to reload all. Oh, did you see that? Let's do you too. Okay, now this turns, and the burp gun is gonna. Okay, it selected a new target. Oh, there it went. There it went. Okay. Wait, was that one shell? What the hell? What happened there? Reload all, thank you. And it's hopefully gonna shoot again then. Oh. Do we have issues with too little of something? I just spawned some stuff anew. So here you can see the burp guns are dropping in here, and these are like extreme. When they hit, they will insta-kill a marauder. That's just too much explosive damage. They're pretty close range, but you know, our commander wanted some real damage, some real alpha striking power. And this is the nicest amount of alpha strike potential I smashed into a, well, decoration first design. Well, I think we looked enough at this. I hope you did enjoy this little building exploration thing of the Delfin, and I definitely hope our commander did as well. If not, you know where I am for some potential fixes or adjustments. But in any case, you find this on the workshop in that form. Big thanks to our commander Delfin, DLFN, for supporting the channel. And I'll see you next time. This is your host, Eric. And if you want something built for you, if you didn't get that yet, it's the commissioned officers, they are the patrons. If I wasn't clear enough. Right. Thanks again for watching. This is your host signing out. I hope I see you in the next video.